Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. After Obama's endorsement yesterday, I thought we would go into a refrigerated area so we could all get that Obama cool going on. David, you didn't like that joke? So I just want to thank everybody for coming here. I'm really, really grateful. Thanks to my friends and the business leaders who helped to build this incredible facility. I want to thank Al for an incredible introduction and, frankly, for the work that this union has done here in the Newark area, here in New Jersey, in representing men and women and making sure that they too can have a middle-class lifestyle, make sure that they can protect jobs and advance what is the bedrock of New Jersey, which is good jobs, good opportunities, and, God willing, a continued expanding economy. I want to also acknowledge some of my friends who are also here with me today. Phil Elagia, who's representing Essex County Chairman Phil Thigpen, Senator Teresa Ruiz, Assemblywoman Grace Spencer, Assemblyman Albert Coutinho, great partners in our legislature, and then, of course, my partner mayor right across the border of Newark, Irvington Mayor Wayne Smith. So we call this press conference here today to really talk to voters about the choice that they have on October 16th. It's a topic that we're going to hear a lot about, obviously, over the next 50-plus days. But what we see in this election is a choice between candidates that is clear and stark. We have one candidate who believes we are stronger when we stand together, when we work together, when we take care of our own, our children, our elders are sick. These are my beliefs. And so you have one candidate versus another one who clearly believes that we are better when we fend for ourselves. We're weak, needy, vulnerable, elderly, innocent are on their own. And if any of us should fall on hard times, on bad luck, fall sick, or fall victim to the vicissitudes of the savage storms of life, then so be it. No safety net, no helping hand. I believe the record in this race shows that my opponent has such extreme views that he's not even in sync with the mainstream of his own party. This is no compassionate conservatism. This is no Ronald Reagan or Dwight Eisenhower. This isn't even Chris Christie, whom though I disagree with on issues, he and I have stood together. Chris Christie has accepted Medicaid expansion, fought for Hurricane Sandy relief. He stood by me, stood with me to increase public school teacher salary, expand union apprenticeship programs for urban youth, and use tax incentives to create jobs. And so in New Jersey, I am proud to be a Democrat, proud of our party. But I'm telling you right now, this election is not a choice between a Democrat and a Republican. It is a choice between pragmatism and extremism, between someone who has proven that he could work with all people to build bridges towards our future versus someone who says he is determined to tear those bridges down. It's a choice between someone who will increase the ideological, partisan gridlock in Washington and someone who will do everything they can to break it so that Washington works again for all of us. Now this spirit, this way of working, this pragmatism is why we're having progress in Newark that you see here now. I've been in politics for about 15 years, 5 elections. And you know what's interesting is I've never run in a partisan election before. And the truth is, in my work in Newark, I haven't cared about Democrat or Republican. What I've cared about is getting results. And as such, I've worked with everyone, Democrats and Republicans, developers and unions, clergy and nonprofits, blacks and whites, Latinos and Asians, gay and straight, everyone coming together. In Newark, we brought people together to achieve real results that are unassailable. As Al said in my introduction, in Newark, our population is growing. For the first time in 60 years, businesses are coming, and crime is going down. We're building parks. We're building supermarkets, housing. Heck, we're building so much in our city that over a third of all the development in New Jersey, in commercial and multifamily, all the development in New Jersey is going on right here in Newark. We didn't do this because of partisanship, because we were stuck in ideological camps. We did this because of the belief that we must work with everyone, regardless of party. That if it means getting things done, we all have got to find a way to the table and make something happen. Look, I've worked with our Republican governor on education reform that has put Newark, New Jersey at the center of urban innovation in the country. At the heart of our work together is the understanding between the governor and myself, between a Republican and a Democrat, the understanding that if a poor kid gets great educational opportunities, her success will be all of our success. But if she fails, we all fail. We will have to pay the price for their failure in lost productivity and then the higher cost of government with things from food stamps to prisons. And I've gone even further. I've worked with groups like the right-leaning think tank, the Manhattan Institute, with whom we've created programs to help men and women coming home from prison to find jobs, deal with their addictions, and reconnect to their children. This has actually led to lower costs of government, to less recidivism and less crime. And it has created greater productivity in people. Help this population, and you don't just help them, all of us benefit when we give that helping hand, when we extend the help. But sadly, my opponent doesn't seem to understand this truth, that when we help others, when we invest in their success, we all benefit. And so this election is a choice between someone who isn't afraid to stand with Republicans as well as Democrats, and someone who stands way out on the fringes talking about political theory that isn't only extreme, but it's out of step with what it takes to make America work. But don't take it from me. He is a self-described, in his own words, right-wing radical. Frankly, as a proud progressive, as a proud Democrat, I am fiercely pragmatic. I'm a problem-solving mayor. I believe that during the course of their selection, there are going to be many in the mainstream of the Republican Party will come to find out that they have more in common with me than my opponent in this election. So let me explain in practical terms what this means for us in New Jersey, regardless of party. You see, Democrats, independents, and Republicans in New Jersey support Social Security. We may have differences about how to make sure that it's around for future generations, but my opponent says it's a Ponzi scheme, that Social Security should be done away with, and that we all should just bet on the private markets to secure our future. That's not in line with us in New Jersey, and that's not a bet that Americans can afford to make. Social Security and Medicare have helped ensure the dignified retirement of millions and millions of Americans. It is crucial that we preserve and protect these programs. And not just because it's the right thing to do to honor the work and service of our elders, it's actually also good for the overall economy of America. And while there is some disagreement over so-called Obamacare, if you break the Affordable Care Act down to its component parts, you find that there's much in New Jersey, Republican, Democrat, and Independent, that we all agree on. Look, we all agree that we should prevent insurance companies from denying coverage because of pre-existing conditions. We all agree that allowing young people to stay on their parents' plans a little longer makes sense. We all agree and know factually that by prioritizing preventative care in New Jersey, you actually save taxpayer dollars down the road. But you see, my opponent, not in line with New Jersey, wants to get rid of it all and replace it with nothing. No security, no alternative, no plan. Fend for yourself. You're on your own. If you get sick, it's on you. Please understand, he says this. He says, and I quote, "I have no interest in paying for your health care. I'd hate to see you get cancer, but that's your problem, not mine." What he doesn't understand is that investing in preventative care lowers the overall costs of Medicaid, of medical coverage. It also increases the productivity of Americans and makes our economy stronger here at home and to compete abroad. Look, I'm a leader that under difficult times, in the worst economy of our lifetime, I know about cutting government. We have done it in Newark. In fact, try to find another city or town that has made as many painful cuts as Newark has. 25% of our employees in government we reduced. Now we have a budget in 2013 that's less in spending levels than our 2006 budget. But I also understand that to grow a stronger economy, to grow a stronger workforce, to grow a stronger America, we must invest as well, and invest in those things that produce a return for all Americans. That is why, in the midst of all the cutting Newark was doing, we drove more resources to our public schools. We invested in healthy food access for all families and invested in housing for low-income families and our senior citizens. My opponent doesn't believe that we should be repairing old infrastructure and building new infrastructure. Even when New Jerseyans are struggling to find quality jobs with historically low interest rates that make necessary investments as affordable now as there'll ever be. He doesn't realize that, as everyone knows, as common sense says, we can save money not by repairing old roads and bridges now, simply doing that, but by repairing them now before they crumble, we save money in the long term. And what makes these investments even more urgent is that in order to remain the #1 economy in the globe, we must have a transportation and utility infrastructure that makes us the best place in the world to do business. I understand this as a balance sheet analysis. We must address our debt, but we also must invest in the infrastructure that creates a climate for growth. And most of all, America must invest in our greatest natural resource, which is our people. Another critical point: if you're investing in people, you must defend and affirm their freedom and their equality. That's why I point to another difference. I will fight to make sure a woman's health care decisions remain between her and her doctor, period. And I will work to protect funding for Planned Parenthood and other health care providers who do so much to make women across New Jersey and across our country healthier and more productive. Here again, my opponent is out of step with the mainstream of his own party because he opposes a woman's right to choose, even in cases of rape and incest. His priorities and his ambitions to undermine women's freedoms are not mine, and I know they are not ours as a state. These differences matter, and these differences change and empower lives. I believe marriage equality should be the law of the land. He wants to preserve a second-class citizenship for our gay brothers and sisters, preventing them from having that fundamental American ideal of equality under the law. My opponent would raise taxes on the working poor, and he's actually even bragged about it. He would cut taxes for the wealthiest amongst us, reducing funding for those things that poor people rely on, and helps to build them into the middle class. Look, the next 55 days in this election will be tough. You're going to see a lot of cheap shots taken at me. You're going to see others slam and slander. You've already seen it. But as I've done all my career, when others try to destroy, I will build. When others try to scare, I will inspire. When others try to tell us what is bad and broken, I will talk about what is good and what is possible. I know that together we can elevate. I know that together we can do better. I know that together we can create a way forward, not for Democrats or Republicans, but for New Jersey. This is our state's history. This is Newark's history in particular, because it speaks as a testimony to the fact that when people come together, there is nothing we can't do. It's not a matter of can we, it's just a question of do we have the collective will. Well, I know we can and we will, New Jersey. I'm going to be asking people in this election, Democrat, Republican, and Independent, North Jersey and South Jersey, urban and suburban, to join with me, not in moving left or right, but in moving our great state forward. So that's the kind of race I'm going to run. And as our native son says, I know things are going to get rough. I know this campaign, we're going to have opponents that are going to try to come at us with everything they've got. Well, as that native son said, come on and take your best shot. Let's see what you got. Bring on your wrecking ball. You see, folks have been doing that for a long time about parts of New Jersey. I came up in my professional life in Newark. Folks have been taking their best shot at our city for a long time, disrespecting it, disregarding it, or just plain dissing it. Folks stopped believing in the promise and the potential of Newark. But despite all that negativity, despite all of that cynicism, this city now is rising up. 3% of the state's population, but a third of the development, as I mentioned before. This city is rising up. Years of population decline, now we're growing for the first time in 40 years. This city is rising up. Well, New Jersey, we can rise together all over this state. It's not time for negativity and cynicism. The truth of New Jersey is about uniting for a common cause greater than ourselves. This is the state that in the depths of despair, at the dawn of our nation, when Washington's army had its back against the wall, it was here in New Jersey in the Battle of Trenton that the very idea that America is a place where impossible dreams happen, it is that victory that sparked a country with an attitude that we, the people, together in order to form a more perfect union can rise. And it's this spirit that is the spirit of New Jersey. We have given this nation so much hope. From Edison's work on the light bulb that helped to illuminate this land, from the very engine that connected this country across the Transcontinental Railroad, built right here in New Jersey by our workers' hands, we are uniters in New Jersey. This is a state that up and down the turnpike, we don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat, we care if you're from Jersey. We have pride in our state. It's time to unfurl that pride. It's time to open our arms, join hands, and come together. Because Washington is not serving us. It's fallen into partisan gridlock, into inaction, into people who are far more concerned about the zero-sum game of politics. But that's not the Jersey way. That's not the way we roll. And so this election needs to reflect that spirit. This is what I stand for. This is what I fought for here in Newark. is what we've accomplished together in the state's largest city. And I believe in this election, together, one New Jersey into another, that we can pull together not only to affirm an election victory, but for the larger campaign that we've been fighting for generations, to make the truth and the promise of America real for every family, to awaken that understanding that together we will always accomplish more. As the old saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. America, New Jersey, we're going to go far. Thank you.